Yeah, so let's get started. So, uh, you know, good evening, and this is our class on week 12 syllabus. This is the last week of the course, or at least the content wise, week 12. Okay, and various important concepts like endowment plans, life annuities plans, and different type of insurances like health insurance or term life insurance or endowment, life insurance, all those things are discussed. Apart from that, this property and you know uh, vehicle insurance was briefly touched. So to be honest, to cover this big topic of insurances, endowments, etc., uh, you need more time actually. I mean, these are very involved concepts. So that is why, because the major factor that was assumed to be constant during this class discussion was the interest rate was only 5%, which was considered constant throughout the life of various human beings. Okay, that mortality table was there, right? But that is one additional level of complexity that comes into picture when you have change of interest rates also. Okay, but we don't consider that because that will be too complicated to do the analysis just with the tables or something like that. Okay. Anyway, so that is what was discussed. And this mortality table or commutation table, as I said, it is different for different types of interest rates. So in the class we studied only one, which is 5%, but depending on what is the interest rate that you achieve on your uh, investments that you do, whether it's a lump sum or uh, whether it's a monthly or annual payments. Based on those things, based on interest rate, those things will also give you various types of returns. Okay, so we had seen certain problems in our initial classes when we discussed about these things. When you have certain interest rate for one period and then you have certain interest rate for the remaining period, and then we calculate the future value of the present investments or installments. Okay, so those kind of things also come into picture, but we don't deal with them here. Okay, so that is one thing. And you know then first is about the differences between these endowment plans and annuities, etc. So let's talk about those, then we'll take some problems, because that is also important. You should remember those things. Okay, so okay uh, okay, so the thing is, let me just check once again. Okay, so there are things called as endowment, annuity, life insurance, term insurance, and endowment insurance. Okay, so maybe we can create one table so that you understand what we are trying to do. Okay. So first of all, you should know what they cover and what is the payout and what is the general purpose of all these things. Okay. Yeah. 1 second. see in this now we have all these things, right? Uh, Life insurance, but that is like whole life insurance or deferred whole life insurance. All those things are there. Okay, so let me just. I wanted to give you a broader understanding. That's what I'm wondering. Okay, 1 second. Uh, hmm. Okay, so maybe we can create a table like this. Okay, so let's say the first column is instrument. So whatever it is, endowment or life insurance or whatever it is. So the type of instrument. Then you have coverage, what it covers. Okay, and then maybe you'll have something like payout. And maybe in the end you'll have something called as purpose. So what is the purpose of opting for this instrument? Okay, because we'll see different formulas are there obviously, but first of all you should know what is the difference between all these things. Okay, so the first thing that we studied was endowment, okay, or pure endowment. Okay, so let's because as I told you, there are different uh, subcategories of these things. So if you want to differentiate, uh, you have to consider distinct cases. Okay, because these pure endowment plans, they are nothing but the plans in which you have uh, these things. Okay. The primary purpose of pure endowment plans is on savings. Okay, so if you survive the term of the contract or the policy, you will get certain lump sum amount of your investments. Okay, so that is called as pure endowment. Okay, plan, if you want to put it, like you can put plan also. So its primary focus is on savings. Okay, in some cases you will have certain life insurance also associated with, but you will not have any death benefit. Okay, so uh, you know so in endowment plans you have savings is the primary purpose. Okay, plus in some cases you will get some life insurance also, but in some plans it may not also be there. Okay, the primary goal is savings here. Okay, and payout is nothing but lump sum amount that you get. Okay, but if you die in between, uh, you know there is no death benefit, but like you're you'll get guaranteed lump sum. Okay, so that means whatever you put, and if you die in between, whatever you had put earlier, that will be given back to your nominee or whatever it is. But the primary purpose is long term savings. Okay, that is the primary purpose of these plans. Then you have second, which is called as annuity. Okay, so here also there are different, right? Limited time annuity, lifetime annuity plans, etc., etc. And this is basically for getting the this thing regular payments. Okay, so basically this is like your retirement pension kind of thing. Okay, so this is the main purpose of these annuities. Okay, and it covers basically these things, you know, uh, uh, periodic payments. Okay, so it covers or provides periodic payments. Okay, so there is no lump sum payout. You get regular payments later on, or depending on what type of annuity it is, uh, you get all those things. Okay, so the primary purpose is steady income. Okay, steady income stream. So mostly you can consider this for retirement is the most appropriate example of this. Okay, so after retirement you need uh, steady income stream, so that's why you do annuities when you are working. Okay, then there is something called as life insurance. Okay, so life insurance, there are different types, but here you get death coverage also. So okay, and in this this life insurance you get death coverage also, permanent life insurance, or lifetime coverage. Death coverage is primary for term insurance actually. For life insurance, you know you usually have lifetime coverage. And you can have some cash component also. So lifetime death cover or death coverage, plus in some cases you can have some cash component also. Okay, so you may receive some cash component also after certain period of time depending on the terms. Okay, and what is the payout here? Payout is, uh, first of all, if it has cash component you will get certain lump sum cash, and main is the uh, this thing. So this it is similar to this one only. Main payout here is death coverage, and some if cash component is there, you'll get something. Okay. So the primary purpose of this is protection for dependents. Okay. So in case some untoward incident happens, you should have some protection for your uh, loved ones. Okay. Okay. And then you have something called as term insurance. So the term insurance is actually cheaper than the life insurance because it is purely for death coverage. Okay, so it doesn't give you any cash component, etc. And in case of death also, it is a pure death coverage. Okay, that means during the contract of your term insurance, if you die, then only you get payout. Otherwise, you don't get any payout also. Okay, so payout only on death within contract. Okay, so that's why these are cheaper as compared to life insurances. But you know, it has its own drawbacks also. You don't have any cash component usually. Now the question is, why do we use term insurance and who it is beneficial for? So it is basically low cost protection against untimely death. Okay, so usually uh, nowadays, I mean, that classification is gone nowadays because even young people are struggling with heart diseases, etc. So anyway, if you want low cost protection against untimely death, you should buy term insurance. Okay, and then there is fifth one, which is called as endowment insurance. So basically, it is nothing but combination of insurance plus endowment. Okay, so basically it is nothing but 1 plus 3. Okay, so it gives you both, uh, you know, savings plus death cover. Okay, because the first one is uh, mostly savings. Okay. So you should have only savings here only. Life insurance is separate thing. So it covers your savings for future basically. Actually, we could have covered or merged second and third column also. That would have been better, but it's okay. Okay. So this endowment insurance is nothing but this savings plus lifetime death coverage. Okay. So savings plus death coverage. So it offers the benefits of both, but as you can see, it will be costing you more as compared to one or three independently. Okay, so in case of this payout also, either you can have it's like insurance, so you can have payout lump sum on death or maturity. Okay, lump sum on death or maturity. So any which ways, any which of these two come first, that is your uh, main main payout protect this thing method. Okay. Then you have the main purpose is life protection as well as savings. Okay. So usually the LIC policies that we buy in India are nothing but this endowment insurance kind of instruments. So they give you death cover also. In some cases they give you accident cover also, and then there is some payout also, lump sum payout also after certain duration. For example, uh, one of my friends has the policy, LIC policy. Actually, we just say this LIC policy, but it's like an endowment insurance only. So you have to pay like some 10,000 per year for 16 years. So basically, you deposit like total 1,60,000, and after 25 years, you will get, I think, 25 years from the start. Okay, so first 16 years you pay 10,000 per month. Then for next 9 years you don't do anything. But for this total 25 years, you will have health insurance. Okay, and after 25th year, you will get this payout also. Not health insurance, sorry, life insurance. And after 25th year, you will get these things also. This money that you put 1,60,000, I think you get 5 lakhs in return or something like that. So different kind of policies are there. And apart from these things, there are some things called as health insurance, vehicle insurance, property insurance, something are there. But those are for a particular instrument or for a particular purpose. Okay, so these are different types. So first of all, you should understand the difference between them. Okay, and then we studied something called as this mortality table or commutation table. Okay, so we'll take some problems on that because nowadays they may be using very sophisticated data sets because of the advent of AIML. But for the like large amount of time, this insurance industry used these mortality tables or mortality table or commutation table, and you should remember these are for particular interest rate. Okay, so the interest rate that we uh, studied in the class is for 5%, so we'll stick to that. But if the interest rate is changed, your present value and future value calculations change, therefore different numbers in your this table also change. Okay, but we are not considering that today. So here if you look at this table, there are different columns. Okay, so I'll just explain whatever each column means. Okay, so there is first column which is called as X, which is denoted by variable X, which is nothing but age. Okay, and it means the age of person, present age of a person. Okay, it starts from 0. So that means when you are born and till the time you die. Okay, so they did something of a statistical study. They took some 1,000 babies born, I think in 80s or something like that, very old data, and they tracked the deaths of each and every baby from start to end. Okay, and they counted each year how many people died and so on and so forth to get the probabilities. Okay, this was old method. Nowadays they don't do it like this because nowadays you have access to high computation systems. So instead of relying on some historical data sets, you can create your own data sets or recent data sets, because people who lived in last century had different life expectancies because of their lifestyle or the technologies that they used or the environment, okay, climate change, etc. What was in the last century as compared to current one. Everything is different. Okay, so for our academic discussions, we are taking these old tables, etc. But it's not like that. That currently they use the same thing. Okay, so currently you have ML also. So you can do more number crunching, or you can take, instead of 1 lakh, you can take like 1 crore, 2 crores of data points, and then you can calculate these probabilities very accurately. Okay, and then depending on the variable interest rates, etc. You can do additional calculations also. So nowadays it is possible, but since this is academic discussion and introductory class, so that's why we are taking the simple examples. Okay, Lx represents number of or number alive at the age of x. Okay, so maybe I'll just write the whole thing only instead of doing it in 2-3 ways. Okay, so it means number of individuals starting from 1 lakh surviving mean to exact age x. Okay, so number of individuals surviving to exact age of x. Okay, so the table that you studied, it started with 1 lakh babies, and if you look at the first line itself, out of 1 lakh babies, 1000 to 60 babies died within the span of 1 year. So that is called as infant mortality rate. And since these babies are very young, the probability of them not making up to first year is very high, especially considering the times when this data was collected. Okay, so that time this health or medical science was not that advanced, so this child mortality was significantly high. Okay, you can see the third column in your data table also. You'll realize the first number is 1260, and after 1 year there are only 92 deaths from 1 to 2 years. Okay, so therefore the first row of this table gives you very important insight, something called as it's infant mortality rate. Okay, and then after Lx we have something called as Dx. So Dx means number of deaths between age x and x plus 1. Okay, so how many people died between age x and x plus 1. Okay, and then you have something called as mortality rate, okay, which is denoted by q of x. This is called as mortality rate. Okay, and it is nothing but probability that a person aged as x dies before reaching age x plus 1. Okay, so it is nothing but probability that a person aged x dies before reaching age x plus 1. See, very cruel things, no? Basically, we are calculating the probabilities of people dying. But since this is in insurance business, you have to do those things. Okay, so basically, it is nothing but number of deaths in that year and whatever the initial population that you started with. Okay, and this dx, dx you can calculate as whatever is the population at x plus 1 year minus whatever is the population at the start of x year. Okay, so that many people died in between. Okay, so that is called as mortality rate. Okay, And then you can define something called as this px, which is the complement of mortality rate. Okay, so you can call it as living rate also, but they don't use that term. Usually they call probability that a person aged X lives up to age of X plus 1. Okay, so he lives for one more year. And then you can see this Px will be nothing but 1 minus Qx, because these are complementary events. And this gives you a very important correlation. I think this is your assignment question also for 12th week. So this mortality rate and rate of survival is more or less, I mean, it adds up to 1. Okay. Then there is, I mean, it's not in the column, but you define something called as NPX also, or NQX also. Okay, so NPX means, so these two columns are not there in your table, but since we are discussing different terms, we will just keep them. Okay, so NPX means probability of person aged X lives for next n number of years. Okay, and it is given as, no, it is given as n into px equal to Lx plus n divided by Lx. Okay, see, this Lx plus n will be always smaller than Lx because people keep on dying between this n number of years. Okay? And therefore you can define something like nqx also, that will be 1 minus npx. Okay, that will be nothing but Lx minus Lx plus n divided by Lx. Okay, so all these kind of things you can do. Okay. And then these two columns are not there in px and qx. You can you won't see them in your mortality table. So after qx there is the next column, which is capital Dx. Okay, so that is called as discounted value of life at age x. That is why this is capital D. This is called as discounted value of life at age x. Okay, so that means if you consider present value of $1 or 1 rupee payable at death, discounted at 5% per person alive at age x. Okay. So this also means present value of $1 or 1 rupee also you can take, doesn't matter. Okay. $1 or 1 INR payable at death. Discounted at 5%. Okay, so because we are talking about discounted values, we should know what is the discount rate. We consider 5% here. Per person alive at age x. Okay. And we have the formula for dx as v to the power x into Lx. Okay. What is this v? V is nothing but the discount rate, so that is 1 by 1 plus I, where I is 0.05 here. Okay, or 5% if you want to call it. Okay, so that is the formula for dx. Okay, so you can write dx as also Lx by 1 plus I power x. Okay, then after dx column there is something called as nx. Column nx is there in your table. Okay, so you should know what is nx. Nx is nothing but cumulative discounted value from age x onward. Okay. Cumulative discounted value from age x onward. Okay. So that means this nx is nothing but dx plus dx plus 1 and so on and so forth. Okay. Then there is something called as cx, which is called as discounted value of deaths at x. Okay, so this is called as discounted value of deaths. Okay. Uh, Earlier we see one discounted term which is dx, that is called as discounted value of life. Okay, and this is called as discounted value of death or deaths at age x. Okay. And this is similar to the definition is similar to the uh, dx only, but instead of per person alive at age x, we take per person who died at age x or by age x. Okay. So therefore, we'll directly take the formula, that is nothing but dx into e to the power x plus 1. See, earlier in case of capital dx, we took lx. In case of capital cx, we are taking dx because these are representing life and death. Okay. So therefore, it will be dx divided by 1 plus I power x plus 1. Okay. And what is d here? D is number of deaths between x and x plus 1. Okay, so this is formula for Cx. And then you have another formula for Mx, which is called as cumulative. Cumulative value of Cx from edge x onward. Okay. So therefore your Mx is nothing but Cx, Cx plus 1, Cx plus 2 and so on and so forth. Okay, and the last column in your table is called as life expectancy. Okay. And it is defined for a particular age, life expectancy at age x. So when you are young, you have higher life expectancy. As you grow older, your life expectancy also goes down. Okay, so this is defined as average future lifetime of a person, lifetime of a person who is aged x right now. Okay, and this is calculated as dx divided by lx. So lx we know what is lx is there, where the new term dx is defined as is total number of person years. Total number of person years lived after age x. Okay. So we basically need to multiply number of person and their remaining years. Okay. So this is the overall idea about your mortality table. Okay. And why we need interest rate for this is because in many of the formulas, this in the formula of dx, nx, cx, mx, all these formulas need interest rate to calculate the present value of the future payment of $1 or 1 rupee. Okay, so that is why we need all these things. Okay. let's take some problems. I think there are some problems in your assignment also. We'll see. Okay. Um, yeah. Mm, one second. Actually, there were different formulas that I had separated it out, but where did they go? Is the question. One second. Okay, so you can face questions like this. Okay. The question is a person aged 40, person age 40 wants to know the probability of dying before age 45. Wants to know the probability of dying before age of 5. Okay, use a mortality table to find the value. Okay, so now you can check. See, this qx is the probability that person x, aged x, dies before reaching the next year. We don't want that. We want this one, right, for next 5 years. So we want nqx basically. Okay. And n is nothing but 5 here, and x stands for 40. Okay. So basically we want nqx, and n is 5, q is, this is 40, because at current age is 40 and you want for next 5 years, right? So that will be nothing but lx minus lx plus n by x, lx, okay, by lx. Okay, so that means here x is 40, so this will be L40 minus L45 divided by L40. Okay, so now if you look at your table which was shared in the class itself, so if you see L40 is 94926. Okay, so this is 94926, and you divide by 94926. And what is L45? It is 93599. Okay. So basically you have 93600 and 400 plus 926. So 1326, so 1327 divided by 94926. Okay. So in that case, you get the probability of around 1327 divided by 94926 into, let's say, 100, just to get in terms of percentages. So the absolute value is 0.0139. Okay, 1397 or 98, let's say. That is nothing but 1.39%. Okay, so this is the probability of dying before age 45. They can ask one more question, that what is the probability of living till age of 45. Okay, so that will be 1 minus this number, right? 1 minus 0.0139, let's say. So that is 1 minus 0.0139. That is 0.9861. So basically it is 98.61% possible that you will live for next 5 years. Okay, so this kind of questions they can ask. Then let me check. Okay. problem, similar problems. Okay. Same question they had asked. Okay, a person of age 30 will live to age 45. What is the probability of him living? Okay. So that will be 15 P30. Okay, so that will be L45 by L30. Okay, you can do the same calculations. Yeah, then they can ask you questions on this NX or this MX also. Okay, because NX, what it represents, cumulative discounted value from age X onward, right? Okay. So this kind of things also they can ask. But usually we use this MX, NX, CX, DX primarily in our calculations of various annuities, endowments, etc. Okay, so we'll see those things next. Okay. So that is one thing. Okay. So again, in pure endowment, uh, you know, if you are doing some this thing, what is it? Like this, let's say you are buying the endowment plan of, let's say, $1 that that is planned in the future. So basically, you need to discount that $1 back to the present value. Okay, so that is done with the help of this formula. Okay, so in case of pure endowment, so you consider, let's say, pure endowment plan of actual payment, that is payment in future of, let's say, some value P. Okay, so you purchase one endowment plan of value P. So basically, when they sell you the endowment plans, they will tell you that you'll get 10 lakh rupees after a certain number of years, or you'll get 5 lakh, like that. So that value is represented by P. Okay, and then you need to calculate the present value. Okay, so this, how much you need to pay to buy this plan. Okay, so that is called as uh, you know present discounted value. Okay, so, or the present value for payment of P in future is given as P into dx plus n by dx. So x is nothing but current age of the person, and n is, after how many years. Uh, it is called as duration of endowment plan. Okay, so we can take one problem on this. Okay. One second. Yeah. Okay, so the question is, a person of 50 years age wants to receive a pure endowment of, let's say, 10 lakh rupees, 10 lakh rupees when he retires at, let's say, 72. Okay, so he retires by 72 of age. How much would he pay now for the plan? How much would he pay now if the interest rate is 5%? See, we'll take all the problems with 5% interest rate only, but sometimes they ask this kind of things. Okay. So the formula is in front of you only. So he wants 10 lakh in the future. So what will the present value for that is given by 10 lakh means 10 to the power 5. And then dx plus n. X is 50 here. Okay, x is 50, which is current year. And n is the time between current year and the time of payment. Okay. That is 72 minus 50. So 22. Okay. So that means this will be d 72 divided by d 50. Okay. So if you look at your table, what is d72 and what is d50? So capital D50 is 7981 7981.41 and D72 is nothing but 1907.04. Okay, so if you do this calculation, 1907.04 divided by 7981.41, that comes out to be 0.24, and if you multiply this by 10,000, 10 lakh, you get this present value that you need to be paying as 2,38,935.2 INR. Okay, so if you want to receive like 10 lakhs after 22 years from your present age, you need to pay today 2,38,935 rupees. Okay, and assuming that the interest rate remains constant at 5%. Okay, so this is the endowment plan. Okay, then there was a discussion on whole life annuities. Okay, so this means like you want the payment or you know this periodic payments for the duration of your remaining life till the day you die. Okay, so that is under the category of whole life annuities. Okay, so there are different types also. First is called as ordinary. So it means you will if you represent this by acronym WLA, there is something called as ordinary whole life annuities, in which uh, you basically give certain amount of AX for the remainder of the life of the person. Okay. Okay. So and then you need to pay some premium. Okay. So the derivations are done in the class, so I will not do it again. So this annuity amount that you receive uh, is given by the formula of nx plus 1 by dx. Okay. X is your present age. Okay. Okay. And then you can compute the premium accordingly depending on the face value of the plan. Okay. Then there is this is the first category. Then you have something called as whole life annuities due. Okay. So here basically you start after 1 month. Okay. Uh, after one period. Okay, so therefore, in such cases, this amount comes out to be, they use double dot here. Okay, it comes out to be 1 plus nx plus 1 by dx. It just comes out to be nx by dx. Okay, and then you have third formula here, which is called as deferred whole life annuities. Okay, so it means you don't get the payment from the starting, like the payment doesn't start as soon as you buy the plan. First payment starts after period N. Okay, so in such cases, it is denoted by symbol like this, okay, and it is given by nx plus 1 plus n divided by dx. Okay, so they can ask you questions on any of these. For example, maybe I can give you a, and see, these are these are whole life annuities. Okay. Okay, then there are something called as temporary life annuities. So that means you don't get it for the whole life, you get it till some time period. Okay, so the formulas were given in the class itself. Okay, maybe we'll take one problem here so that you understand. Okay, so let's take one question. uh, you know, Rahul is 35 years old. 35 years old, thinking of buying annuity that would pay him that would pay him 30,000 at the end of each year for rest of his life. The premium for this annuity would be. So in this question, x is 35 because he is currently at 35 age. So what will be ax in this case? 30k. So this is 30 into 10 to the power 3 into nx plus 1 by dx. So nx plus 1 will be n36 and this will be d35. Right. So again, you have to go back to your mortality table. And what is n36? N36 comes out to be 287. This is 287 435.13 divided by d35. That is 17369.03 or 06. Okay, so that will, this ratio comes out to be 16.55, and if you multiply this, you will get around 45,000. Sorry, 4.9 lakhs. Okay, so let me just do that. 28743513 divided by 17369.06. 16.55 into 30,000 he wants, right? So therefore, uh, the the premium that he needs to pay comes out to be 4,96,460.6 rupees. So you see, uh, if you do some rough calculations, basically he's paying 5 lakh rupees and he wants 30k per year. So that means if he gets like for 10 years, he will receive 3 lakhs. Okay, assuming like no inflation or no interest or anything. So, for 5 lakh rupees, if you divide it by 30,000, that is coming out to be uh, 50 by 3, no? So that is around 17, 16, 17, okay? So, that means, see, it is given like this is for the rest of the life. That means 35 plus 15 if you do. So, up to 50 years if you do, this 5 lakhs will be back. But see, he gets interest in between, right? So, therefore, he can receive that interest also later on. Okay? So, basically, that is the logic. Okay? So, somebody may ask, see, that he don't want to buy, uh, okay, instead of ordinary WA, if you solve this problem by WLA or whole life annuity is due. Okay, so in this case, what will happen instead of N36, it will be N35. Okay, so there will be a slight difference because N36 is this 2,87,000, but if you do N35, that is 3,04,000. Okay, so that value will be slightly higher. And let's say he does deferred WL, so he doesn't want the payment from the next year itself. He wants the payment, let's say, after 10 years. Okay, so same questions, if you use deferred WLA for this, and you say that Rahul wants to start the annual payments after 10 years from now. So right now he is of the age of 35. Let's say he doesn't need that uh, annuity to start right now. He has some other streams, income streams, but he wants that incomes to start after 10 years. So that is 45. So in such case, what will happen? This will be a 10A. See, X is 35 here, right? So this will be A35. Here also it is A35, but it is deferred by 10 years. So that is N35 plus 1 plus 10 divided by D of 35. So this is N36 plus 10, N46, and this is D35. Okay. So what is N46? N46 is 154. Yeah, and you need to multiply 30,000 everywhere. Okay. So that is 154,684.29 divided by D35. So that was the same as this 17,369.06. So if you do this, 154,684.29 divided by 369.06. So you get the factor of around 8.9 only. Earlier it was about 15, if I'm not 16 point something. Yeah, 16.55. Right? And then this comes out to be only 8.90. Okay. And if you multiply by 30,000, you basically get this deferred WLA as 2,67,172.1. Okay, so this is the difference, right? Because he doesn't want for next 10 years. No, he wants after the age of 45. So therefore, he needs to pay lesser. Okay. So these kind of questions they can ask from whole life annuities. Okay. And after that, there is something called as temporary life annuities. But we saw those formulas, right? I mean, this temporary life annuities and all. Uh, Maybe I'll just give you because for the sake of completion. Okay. I mean, you can refer to the slides also or the class notes also. Okay. So there are also three types are there: ordinary, due, deferred. Okay. So this is temporary, temporary TLA. What is TLA? Oh, temporary life annuities. That is itself is TLA. Okay, so here also you have three types. One is ordinary TLA, other one is due TLF or DNA due, and third one is deferred TLF. So same as the whole life thing, but here the thing is you don't pay it for full life. Okay, you pay for certain duration only. So that means this. Let's say you pay this annuity only for n number of years, not for the full life. So that is calculated by this formula. So basically you assume it to be full life, then you subtract by that deferred payment, okay, and then you get the formulas. So similarly, you can do those formulas for due and other things also. Okay. So we will not do that because we don't have time. We have to cover other things also. So then after this annuities, there was discussion on whole life insurance policy. Okay. And then there are deferred whole life policies and so on and so forth, and then term life insurance. Sorry, not term life, term insurance. So I'll just maybe take some, or I'll just give you the formula and take some problems parallelly. Okay, so let's start with whole life insurance policy. Whole life insurance policy. So here, as the name suggests, you will have death cover or insurance cover for whole life. Okay. So in that case, the first case is single premium. So basically, you pay the premium upfront at the time of purchase of this. So that is calculated as AX, and it is given as F into MX by DX. Okay. F is the face value of your policy, and MX DX are from your mortality table. But in some cases, you are not able to pay the full premium upfront because it will be huge for you. So in that case, what you do, you pay the premium annually. So with some interest you have to pay. So that is fine. So we basically broke the single premium into this annual payments. Okay. And how do you do that? You basically write this AX as PX into double dot X. What is A double dot X? We have seen this, which is that NX by DX, right? Okay. So the formula that comes out is important. So in such cases, this annual premium PX comes out to be uh, MX by NX into F. So F is face value, and this MX NX come from your table. Third is, so you don't want to do annual payment for, this is for whole life. You don't want to do it for whole life. You want to do it only for certain number of payment for M payments or M installments. Okay. So in these cases, this is called as MPX, okay, and it comes out to be MX divided by NX minus NX plus M into F. Okay. So there is a slight difference in the denominator as compared to the second formula. All of these formulas were derived in the class. Okay, so I'm not doing that again because we don't have time and it's not required. Okay. And then after that, we have something called as deferred whole life policy, insurance policy. We'll see those later, but let's see this one. Okay. So maybe we can take some question on this. Okay. So let's say we take this problem and solve all these three cases. Okay. So the question is again, Ram is 35 years old. And wants his family to receive wants his family to receive 40 lakhs after his death. Okay. So let's say he goes and buys the life insurance. Okay, for whole life insurance. Okay. Now first question is, if he wants to do the payment in single premium, how much would that be? So he is 35, so it will be A35. So 40 lakhs is the face value, and you need to find M35 by D35, isn't it? So now again you need to go back to your table. 1 second. Uh, okay. So M35 and D35 we need, right? So M35 comes out to be 2854. Okay, 2854.57. 54.57 divided by D35 comes out to be 17369.06. Okay. So now in such cases, let's do the calculation. So 40 lakhs. Let's say I'll just keep it as 40 only. 2854, or maybe I'll multiply. Let it be into 10 to the power 5. No? Mm, Wait, 54.57 divided by 17369.06. So it comes out to be 6,57,391, or let's say 392 rupees. Okay, I am not putting units, so let it be like this. Okay, so today he needs to pay the premium of 6,57,392 rupees in order for his family to receive 40 lakhs after his death. Okay, but let's say he is not able to arrange this much money, upfront. Okay, so if he wants to divide this into annual premium for whole life, what do you do? Okay, so this annual premium, if he wants to do for whole life, okay, so that means P35. So that will be M35 divided by N35 into F. Okay, so F is 40 lakhs here. So M35 we already know it is 2854.57. N35 N35 comes out to be 304,804.19 into 40 lakhs. So therefore the ratio changes now. 304,804.19. Okay, so that means he needs to pay annually 37,461.0. So let's say this much only. Okay, so he needs to pay annually this much. But sometimes let's say he is not able to pay this much annually also. So let's say he wants to pay monthly instead of annually. So what can he do? Okay, so in that case some arrangement can be done. What they do is you know they will charge you some percentage in order to do this. Okay, for example, let's say instead of 37,461 annually, what they'll do, they will give you an option. Okay, so instead of paying this annually, you know uh, the installment for the insurance can be done every 3 months. Every 3 months instead of annually. When the insurer charges 8% for this facility, for such facility. Okay, so nothing is free. So if you can't do annual things, they will charge you some interest and you can do monthly, 3 monthly payments. Okay, so in that case, this instead of doing annual, let's say you are doing 3 months amount. So that is calculated as P35 into 1 plus the rate of this 1.008 divided by how many periods will be there? 4, right? 4 quarters. Okay. So basically, since you are paying, see, if they don't charge anything, it will be just P35 by 4, but they will charge you 8%, right? So therefore, you need to pay 1.08 times of your annual payment divided by 4. Okay, so that means, uh, 1 second. Okay, uh, answer into 1.08 divided by 4. So that will give you 10,114.48. Okay, so this is your quarterly installment. Okay, so they can, nowadays every flexibility is there. Okay, so in this case, your advantage is that, instead of doing annual payment of some 37 lakhs, 37,000, now you can manage to do 10,000 payment per quarter. But since you are taking this flexibility, you are charged some 8% interest on annual basis. Okay, so like that. So these kind of things can be worked out. So let's say this is for your annual premium that you pay for the whole life. But third case could be you don't want to pay it for whole life. Let's say you want to do this annual payment only for 10 installments. So you don't want to do this, keep on doing this whole time. You just want to finish this in 10 installments. So that will be 10 P35, and the formula says that it will be mx by nx minus nx plus m into f. Okay, so here this will be 35, this will be 35 minus, this will become 45 because m is 10 now. This is your m, and this is f as it is, so that is 40 lakhs. Okay, so if you do these calculations, what is M35? M35 is 2854.57 divided by N35, that is 304 804.19 minus N45. Now we need to find N45 from the table, and that comes out to be 165,101.53 into 40 lakhs. Okay, so only 10 installments you want to do. So in this case, it will be 40 lakhs into 2854.57 divided by 304, 804.19 minus 165,101.53. So these installment come out to be 81,732.7. Okay, so if you look at the numbers, see, if you do it for whole life, you need to do the installments of 37,461, but if you do only 10, you need to do almost 2.5 times of that. Okay, so like that, various formulas are there, and you need to use them to get the answers. Okay, so then there is something called as deferred whole life insurance policy. So there also you'll have uh, three cases. So in this case, you don't want your insurance to start from the immediate next year. You want it to start after certain number of years. In that case, you know, uh, I'll just give you the formulas, because the formulas are there, and you need to take into consideration all those things. But the idea is same. Okay. So the only difference between this is whole life insurance policy. You are not insured immediately. Okay, you want your insurance to or cover to start after certain number of years. Okay, so in this case also there is single payment. So you pay the full premium upfront. That is given by NAX. Okay, so N is nothing but your period of deferment. Okay, this is called as period of deferment. Okay, and it is given by mx plus n divided by dx into f. So if you compare it with the first formula, that is just mx by dx. Here it is mx plus n by dx, because you are deferring it by some n number of years. And then if you do an annual payment, whole life, that is nothing but npx. Okay, so something like this. But here instead of doing in the notations, let's leave it. Just you can take the formula. There only changes, the denominator changes. So instead of dx, it will be nx. Right, the same formula then is there. Okay, this you can write it as npx, but here there will be vertical line between these two. Okay, and the third case will be annual payment, but only k installments. You don't want to keep on doing it for your whole life. You only want k installments. Okay, so in such cases, you can write this as m into n px, and it will be mx plus n divided by nx minus nx plus m into f. Okay, so we are not solving a problem on this, because more or less this is straightforward. Okay, only this because of these deferments, the things change. Okay, otherwise the logic is, or the everything else is same. Okay, so you only do k installment payments here. So let's talk about term insurance now. Okay, so term So here also, as I told you, it only covers if you die. Okay, then only you'll get death cover. Otherwise, you won't get anything. So this is like, you have to die between certain these things. Okay. Anyway, I mean, that's not the point. Okay. So here only two cases are possible. First is, single premium. So basically, whatever is the term insurance premium, you pay everything upfront at the time of purchase. Okay. So they use A1 or A dash for this, and this X dot or X colon N, and by this thing. So X is your age at the time of purchase, N is your term or duration of the insurance or term insurance. Okay. So it is nothing but AX minus NAX. Okay. The same logic as the deferred one. Okay. Previously also we have seen this. So if you plug in the formulas, you get mx minus mx plus n divided by dx into f. Okay. And the other thing that you could do is you could do some annual payments, because if the single upfront payment is premium is high, you can do annual payments. Okay. Where you, let's say, do some K payments, and they will be always less than n, because this is not your lifetime case, right? It is just a case of term insurance. Okay, so in this case, the formula is mx minus mx plus n. This remains as it is, but the denominator is changing, x nx minus nx plus k into f. Okay, so we'll take one problem on this. Okay, so let's say, let me check if there is term insurance formula. Yeah. Okay. So let's take this example. A 30-year-old buys a 20-year term insurance for, let's say, 50 lakhs. Okay. What is the net single premium? So if he wants to pay the whole premium upfront, what should be the value of it? Okay. So here x is 30 because of x is age, and n is 20 because he's buying it for 20 years. So the single premium will come out to be 30 and 20, and it comes out to be m30 minus m30 plus 20 is 50 divided by d30 into f. F is 50 lakhs. So 50 lakhs. So then what is M30? We have to go back to our table. Okay, so M30 comes out to be 2988.23. Then divided by D30 is there. This is 22322.6. And we need M50 also. So M50 is 2357.27 into 50 to 10 to the power 5. Okay. So what is this number? Let's say 50 into 1 lakh into 2988 minus 2357.27 divided by 2322.6. Okay. So therefore this number comes out to be 141,327.6. So basically 1,41,327 327 or 28 rupees. Okay. This is your annual payment. Okay, so if you divide this by, let's say 12 months, you need to pay around 12,000 per month without any interest or anything. If there is interest, you need to calculate like that. But see, now the issue is this is high, this thing, right? Single premium payment. So then I can ask you the same question. Instead of doing it in terms of single premium, let's say you do it in annual payment of, what is the amount that you'll be paying if you do annual payment of, let's say 20 years only will take, because K can be anything between 0 to 20. So let's say we are doing every year payment for the whole duration of term insurance. In that case, this becomes 20 P dash 30 colon 20. Okay, this will be mx minus mx minus n. So that is the first bracket, same as the previous one. M30 minus M50. Denominator changes, it becomes M30 minus N50, okay, into F, because K is also 20 here. Okay, so if you plug these values, okay, so the numerator remains same, denominator changes, right? So we need to find N30 and N50. Okay, so N30 value is 406 021.84 minus, what is the value of this N50 is 118.106.84. So if you do that, your value of this annual payment comes out to be 10957.4. Okay, so if you don't want to pay the whole 1,41,000 upfront, if you want to divide this into the 20-year annual payments, every year you pay 10,000 or roughly 11,000. So in 20 years you will pay around 22. So basically 2,20,000. If you do upfront, you will pay only 1,40,000. Okay, so if you have upfront money, you should do upfront. If you don't, then you have to do annual payments. So like that, you have to solve these kind of problems. Okay. And then there is this combination of these two, which is called as endowment insurance plan or policy. Okay, so as I told you, in this endowment, you will have the both, the combination of this thing, life insurance plus pure endowment. Okay, that is called as endowment insurance. So it is nothing but basically equivalent of life insurance plus purchasing some pure endowment. Okay, so you can do all these things together. Okay, so we have seen some formula, right? For if you want to do single payment in your life insurance, the formula is this one, right? F into mx divided by dx, right? And this is your whole life insurance. Okay. One second. Is it is endowment insurance? Is it term or life? One second. Let me just check. Endowment. Yeah, so basically it is life insurance plus savings. Okay. In some places you may see it is, instead of life insurance they put like term insurance also. Okay. Term life insurance also. Okay. So in class, that is why I'm confused, because in class sir has used this definition where you have this thing, instead of life insurance you have term life insurance here. Okay, doesn't matter. Basically, if you survive, you'll get something. Otherwise, you get the endowment wala payment is there. Okay. So basically, this is your plus. This is our the previous formula, and you can use this formulas. Again, X is your age, N is the term of your term life insurance, and similarly, you have this formula. Okay. So what happens? The drawback here is, in endowment insurance formula policy, if you calculate this number, you know, it comes out to be large number or high number, because you are purchasing essentially two plans, and therefore what they do is to reduce the initial burden. Okay, okay, they will give you two options. One is called as natural premium, and then there is something called as regular annual premium or level premium. Okay. So if you look at this function, as x increases, which is your age, this both terms increase. Okay, and this is called as natural premium, okay, that you get from uh, doing these calculations. Okay. Oh no, 1 second. Yeah, let me just change this, because they define in terms of natural premium and something called as level premium. Okay. So this natural premium is given as, they use this notations for this. That means basically you are considering term insurance for 1 year only. Okay. So in that case, this becomes x plus 1 divided by dx. Okay. And this you can write cx by dx, and there is f is also there. It will come in both the places. Here also f will come outside, whatever is the face value of your plan. Okay. And here you can define that as x increases, this number goes up because cx increases and dx decreases. You can check it from your table also. So this makes the natural premium, initial natural premium, if you want to do it in lump sum or single payment, is very high. Okay, so therefore they introduce something called as level premium is introduced. Okay, otherwise nobody will purchase these kind of plans. So what they do, they don't ask you to pay everything upfront. They will ask you to pay uh, less in first few years, and then it will be constant for all years, so that it will compensate. Okay, so that is given as NPX equal to F into mx minus mx plus n. So the numerator remains same. Denominator is also more or less same only. Okay. And here you need to consider, this n as the parameter, like how many number of years you are purchasing the policy for. Okay. So basically how it looks is like this. Since this is called as level premium, it will be more or less level. Okay. So something like this. Okay. So this is your level premium. And then you have something called as natural premium. Because as X increases, this natural premium increases significantly. So the older people will never choose this endowment endurance. They will just choose term life or something like that. Okay, so therefore, to offer them the flexibility, this kind of stuff is done. So basically, here you are in deficit, but after some number of years, you get the basically balance out everything. Okay, and then the last thing before we stop for the day is nothing but in other type of insurances. Let's say you purchase some equipment or some machine. So in such cases, depending on the life of the machine, the insurer will pay you certain amount. Okay, so that is called as actual cost value. Okay, it is not your initial purchase cost. Okay, ACV equal to original cost or original purchased cost. We call it as OC minus current age. Okay, so how many number of years or months have been passed since you purchased this instrument or machine. See, basically this is like considering the depreciation of your asset into account. Okay, OC by LE. LE is nothing but life expectancy of total life expectancy of that machine. Okay, so this is like considering the effect of depreciation in your calculation. Depreciation of your asset. Okay, so therefore you use this formula of ACV equal to OC minus CA into OC by LE. So you can write OC 1 minus CA by LE. Okay, uh, something like this. Okay, so this is how you write ACV. Okay, they have asked some questions in your assignments, etc. So we can take one question and then we'll stop. Okay, so the question is, if I remember correctly, let me just check rather than giving you some incorrect this thing. Yeah, 1 second. Okay, so a machine is purchased for 50,000 rupees. What will be its OCV or ACV after using it for 1 year, assuming depreciation cost okay, assuming depreciation rate of or annual depreciation rate for the machine as 5%. Okay, so in this question, what have they given? They have given you the original cost or purchased cost as 50k, and they have given you current age, which is 1 year. But what they have not given you is life expectancy. Okay, So life expectancy, how do you calculate? See, the asset is depreciating at 5% every year. So life expectancy come out to be 100 by 5, right? Because it will be completely depreciated after 20 years, right? Every year it is depreciating by 5%. So it will completely depreciate after 20 years. So we assume the life expectancy or life of that machine to be 20 years. Okay. And then you can calculate ACV as 50K. 1 minus 1 by 20 is 50K into 19 by 20. Okay, so one second. Okay, so this comes out to be 15 into 19. So 50,000 to 19 by 20. So it comes out to be 47,500. So the insurer that will give you the machine insurance, or if it is vehicle or something like that, uh, he will, let's say after 1 year, if you go and claim the insurance for whatever reason, he will not give you the insurance on the original purchase price. Okay, he will give you on the actual cost value. Okay, so this is how they calculate all these things. Okay, so with that we'll stop, and this is the last class of this course. I hope you learned some things. I did, and within the limited time period, I tried to give you everything that is possible. Okay, so that as far as the syllabus is concerned, it's over, and these classes are also over. Okay, and I hope this will help you if you are appearing for your exams or something. Okay, but this is like a very important practical course. Maths is there, obviously, many formulas are there. That's the pain, but it's okay. I mean, if you understand these things and if you like this subject, it should be fine for you, because nobody or not many people apart from the finance background, and in finance also, apart from the insurance and these fields background, not many people know all these things. Okay, anyway, I'll share the notes in that drive link, and yeah, with this I'll close the class and close this course syllabus also. Okay, one second. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, with that I'll close the class, and best of luck for you, and see you next time.